Well, we've got Francisco Zalles here, who's the co-founder of Slink. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm great, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing smashing, thank you. So, how did you come up with the idea for Slink?
No, it was my cousin Alejandro was really on driving one day, and
Hmm.
he saw an ad on the radio, and as you well know, there are these impossible URLs
Hmm.
that you can never remember, and so the question of memorability versus clickability came along. It's like the ads and shorteners have been emphasizing clickability. Then branded domains came around, and branded
Hmm.
domains don't seem to resolve the problem. They just add complexity. They're no longer following the .com scenario. They're the .com established route, which is adding complexity. So Ale, my cousin, was just come online,
Yeah.
and I would basically, his idea was basically, first of all, let's make it just simple, and then let's establish a an organizational tool. So right now we've basically built a link management tool that is much better, much easier, much faster to use than either Bitly or Linktree.
Hmm.
Linktree only provides one level of organization. Slinks provide two levels. You go you create the root word, which is much more powerful than the branded domain, and then from there you insert the colon and you have a subslink, and that's what's really differentiating us from most of any other link management tool out there right now.
Yeah. So, let's bring in Alejandro, who's just joined. Who can use Slink? Is it for everybody?
It is for everybody. It's something that anybody that's trying to get a call to action out there can use. It also offers the opportunity for people to create whole ecosystems of links that are essentially tied to their root word. So, for example, you guys are on Shout Radio.
Yeah.
We went ahead and created the Slink Shout, right? So if now anybody goes onto their website, onto their web browser and types slink.com/shout, they're going to land on the webpage for the radio station. But as an
Ah.
example of what Francisco was talking about, I also created a subslink for you. So if people now use shout Toby, they're going to land on the subpage of your radio show, right?
Ah.
So it's funny. Earlier on, I was listening to some older recordings of your show, and I came across one call to action from one of the hosted red ads that you guys do that was just outrageous. It was just hyphen after hyphen
Yes.
after hyphen. Do you remember that one? It's
Yes.
incredible, and I thought it was a joke. I thought that it was, meant to be a funny bit within your show, but
Mm.
it turns out that it's an actual link. And that exercise of trying to get people to remember a way to reach that information was probably entirely lost on your
Mm.
audience, right? So that person that um, contracted you guys to create that ad would have been much better served with something like a Slink, where you could have just said, for more information, just Slink, whatever the word, my project, or,
Mm.
I can't remember exactly what it was about, but, that's the idea, to create something that's memorable, especially in the context of audio, something that you can just say and people will immediately remember. So a broader example might be words that essentially define whole categories like fashion, or
Mm.
music, or movies, or anything like that, right? Where, if that's what you're interested in and you hear an ad that discusses something that you want to go find out about, all you need to remember is the word that describes the thing that got you interested to begin with, right?
Yeah.
So that's essentially
It's an immediate call to action too, Toby. Like,
Mm.
right now, for instance, I've redirected. I think if you slink free, it'll go straight to my phone.
Ah.
So a slink to action is a tremendously important new feature, because especially you guys in radio. I mean, how do you get your advertisers' message out really
Mm.
quickly?
Yeah. That's the
How do you do
the
point.
that?
the other important aspect of this is that we know that audio advertising is the fastest growing segment within advertising right now, mostly as a result of podcasts.
Mm.
But the interesting thing is that even the ad agencies are being a little skeptical of audio advertising because of two reasons. One is the one we just discussed. It's difficult
Yeah.
to actually relay that call to action. But more importantly, the second one is being able to track the results of that call to action, right? Because if you just rattle off a domain in order to reach the information that you're promoting, you don't really know that the visits to that domain came from that specific ad that you put up on a podcast or a radio show, right? Yeah. With a Slink, we give you all the analytics of the specific Slink that you're promoting. So you can very clearly gauge what kind of traffic you're generating from that specific call to action on the radio program.
Yeah, that's a great idea, actually. And are there any challenges that come about when you're using Slink?
Yeah, talking to you. That's a big challenge. No, well, challenges, sure. I mean, the first challenge truly is when you have a good idea is communicating it. I mean, not being that person that stays frustrated because they had a great idea and it was never implemented, or somebody came in and implemented that idea differently. I think that's one challenge. The other challenge is that we're dealing with fundamentally an area that has not been dealt with, which is the link management shortener with organization. So it's truly a link management tool that has a wider scope than any other tool out there right now, and we're able to do it. And hopefully, the real challenge is making a market for words, making words count. Having people own their words and use them in the most efficient way possible to promote content.
Yeah. I was just going to say that sort of following up briefly on what Francisco said. The notion of using Linktree, which obviously is very popular, right? Basically, you have a handle and then you have a really long list of links. And somebody that's interested in just finding one then has the task of going through the whole list and trying to figure out what it is that they were interested in, right? That's friction, right? We can do the same kind of thing with a much more direct access to the information, because every one of those sublinks in itself is something that's memorable. So in the example that I gave you earlier, if you wanted people to land on your show's website, all you need to do is ask them to Slink shout Toby, and that's it, right? You don't have to send them to an intermediary page in which they have to go looking for the link that takes them to the Toby show.
Yeah. And what are the recent trends that have made this solution possible?
Oh, there's a lot in that question. First of all, obviously the influencer market has exploded. It's something that, everybody is able to produce content now, right? Whereas before, content generation was really reserved for actual companies that were specializing in that. Now everybody is a content generator, right? And everybody, to a certain degree, is looking for that content to be consumed, right? As a result, there are all kinds of different platforms that have arisen. There's a lot of segmentation in this content. You might find some information in Instagram, other information in Facebook. And if you really want to get a complete picture of what one particular influencer or one particular company might be doing, sometimes you need to go looking for the information in different places, right? That's one example of friction. Another example of friction is what Francisco alluded to earlier, right? URLs have gotten more and more complex. And this idea of branded links, in which, for example, other companies have options where you can essentially create additional domains. Like, for example, the New York Times has nyti.ms/ and then an additional word that might drive you to a specific article, right? But now I have to remember that the New York Times is NYT. I already forgot what it is. NYTMSI, some kind of contraction. It's all very contrived, right? They're looking for ways that seem to be efficient in terms of reducing the length of the URLs, but at the end of the day, they're just creating complexity, and the fact that these URLs are really not easy to remember, type, or execute, right? And so we want to move everything back towards natural language, where the very words of the language that we speak are the things that you need in order to access the information.
Yeah. Is Slink free to use?
There's a freemium model where it is free to use. There's a fair amount of value that we're giving away for free. If you want to actually reserve a word for good and prevent it from it being taken away from you after that initial free term, then you have to pay. It's a very small fee. It's only $20 per year. So, every month you'll be paying less than $2 for it. and the value that it offers is very significant. As you might imagine, there's certain words that are very valuable. Like radio, for example, right? Even words like audio, movies, music, fashion. There's any number of words that are very valuable. And the other thing that's coming very soon is the ability for these words to be monetized. And I won't describe the details of that just yet. We'll be releasing a new version of the platform soon that's going to allow the owners of these words to actually monetize that ownership.
Yeah. Well, where are we able to find Slink? Just slink.com, right?
Yes, you got it. See how easy it is?
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but in all your advertising, I mean, I think it even has use for you to tell your advertisers, please buy the Slink. You know what I mean? Because I mean, instead of you having to say hyphen, 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 and double and semicolon and backslashes, those are things that just add friction. And initially, the whole shortener industry was designed to visually declutter spaces, right? Because you couldn't get 130. You have to keep your Twitters into 130, and then developers were having these huge things. They just wanted to visually declutter. Slinks go a step further. They mentally declutter, and they allow you to organize yourself because you own that Slink Toby, and then Toby Mail is pretty obvious that you're going to have your email there. And then you can start creating your own Toby, all kinds of categories and telling people to come and share it. And then, like Alejandro said, you're going to be able to monetize your subslinks and your slinks.
Yeah, there's
and that's
even
where also going to be a huge differentiator from the current models that are out there like Linktree that try to create like a taxation system within their own ecosystems where they add a commission and make, they're just another middleman that takes a little bit from the sale. We want to create the real estate through which the sale gets done, which is that destination.
Yeah. And there's also a way in which influencers can monetize links right now. A lot of influencers have affiliate links, right? They get commissions on the things that they promote. And when people click on those links, they get a cut of whatever it is that they purchase, right? These, I'm sure these affiliate links are very long and convoluted because they have massive codes attached at the end of them, right? You can basically convert any one of these affiliate links into a Slink, and then you can verbally transmit that affiliate code in a way that people will be able to remember and execute, right? You no longer depend on driving them to a place in which they can click on something.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
go to slink.com and it's free.
Yep. Yeah, excellent. Well, many thanks for coming on today. It's been great to talk to you both.
Yeah, Toby, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.